Hello everyone, Manithral here, and welcome to the weekly update for RS3. Now this week, see, kind of a controversial one. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not sure how I feel about it personally. But we see skilling bundles this week. So what this is they have skilling bundles. This is a limited time bundle. It's a one purchase through the marketplace where you could use your bonds. Now, the way I see it as this being as kind of controversial is because, well, bonds, you can kind of earn them through a game. You can buy them on the GE, but all the stuff that they actually provide, it can be kind of breaking. And I'll go over that a little bit here. But first up, we have the small pack bundle, which is just costs one bond. And you get 10 pulse cores, 10 cinder cores, 3 medium protean packs, 5 portable packs, 5 combat training dummies, 2 large skilling dummy crates, 1 box of clues. And I will find out exactly what this all entails here in a little bit too, because I am going to actually load up RuneScape here. Because I want to see what 1 box of clues really is, and this will give everybody probably a better idea of potentially some of the potential controversy of this. But then there's also 1 aura refresh and 1 life refresh. And the large pack, you get for 3 bonds, this is a 3 bonder, you get 30 pulse cores, 30 cinder cores, 3 large protean packs, 15 portable packs, 15 combat training dummies, 6 large skilling dummy crates, 3 box of clues, 5 aura refreshes, 5 life refreshes, 5 Slayer VIP coupons, 5 daily resets, 2 weekly resets, 1 monthly reset, 1 death touch dart, and 5 overloads. Now, the problem I'm seeing with this is, of course, it's not the XP items. Honestly, if you've seen a lot of my videos, I kind of encourage those kind of things to be given away in these kind of packs and even in Treasure Hunter. Why? Because they actually help the economy. And I know that might sound a little weird, but if you have people burning through their levels very quickly because of, pulse cores, cinder cores, not as many items are being produced. So this actually helps out the lower tier, the lower level type of money making. So, that being said, I think the XP items are fine. However, the box of clues is actually one of the big things I have an issue with. Especially the aura refresh, because these are things that kind of impact the game in a different way. And the life refresh, I'm kind of 50-50 on that, because it's kind of easy to get, like a ring of life and stuff like that. But also the portable packs, so your portable skilling stations. And the reason why I have issues with those kind of things, it's mostly because they are tradable. If the portable skilling stations were not tradable, I would 100% be completely okay with it. Apart for if it actually would... Okay, for some reason my game isn't actually going full screen here. So let's fix that potentially. Click on that. There we go. I don't know why, but sometimes it does that. So I do have 1 bond I can use for this. I got it a while ago. I forget for what reasoning, but I did get a bond a while ago. I think I got it because of the yak track. So, we're going to go ahead. We're going to go into this, and we're going to explore this update. I mean, as live as a recorded video can be. So you guys can kind of see what's, what this is. Okay, so we do have the limited bundles right here. So, you do have all these other things, I think they're kind of fine. Rune coins, you can't really use them for anything. All these other things, I don't really see them as being that bad, to be perfectly honest with you. It's these that I kind of have an issue with. So we're going to use this. We're going to use my one bond that I do have. We're going to get it. So I'll receive my bundle here shortly. And there it is. There's my bundle. There's the aura refresh. There's a block. Yeah, it's a box of clue scrolls. And we have a life refresh, combat training. So all these kind of things. Now, me personally, these, boom. I would rather go out and do the combat. It's just my personal preference. Because I'm not getting any drops from a training dummy. But I will be getting drops from... I don't even really care for the skill training dummies, to be perfectly honest. But we'll go ahead and throw that in there with the rest of them. See, I already have 10 of these. And I'm going to kind of show you guys what I mean by this. I don't feel like this is actually kind of right either. Because all of these have special effects to add on top of it. So if you take probably the portable bow, is probably one of the most worthwhile ones. If you examine it, it's worth 21k. Now I know that's not a lot of money, but it's still worth money. Now we have a box of clue scrolls. It's already tradable for over 4 mil. Now let's open this thing up. Yes, and don't ask again. I got 2 easy clue scrolls out of that. That's kind of a slap in the face. It goes from being worth... Wow. It went from being worth, 5 mil to not being, well... It's still potentially worthwhile because easy clues can give some items that are actually kind of worthwhile. But as you can see, though, it's still not exactly ideal because you can trade these boxes. Now, if the boxes are made to be untradeable, that would be one thing. But they weren't. They were made to be tradable. So, that's kind of where I'm at with this kind of stuff. So, you got the box of clues, which is actually tradable. And then you have the portable packs, which if you open them up, you can get the item and then you could sell those. So I'm not for that kind of stuff. Now, the other stuff I could care less about because, like I said, you're either making less items that are going into the game, or you're getting less drops from like the combat dummies. I really don't see an issue with those kind of things. The other things I kind of do, and especially when it comes down to the daily, weekly, and monthly resets, those I have a big issue with because right here, the monthly reset. The biggest thing I personally do with this is I use it for the giant oyster. I have a bunch of monthly tickets because you get a bunch throughout the month. So I have monthly resets, and then I always reset the giant oyster, which is, as you guys know, basically free clue items every single month. And that's not good. And then you got the Death Touch Dart, which basically you can go in and kill any boss one hit. Almost any boss, I should say, because there are some that have some weird restrictions on them. And then the 5 overloads. The overloads are kind of supposed to be, that thing that's like kind of high up there for herb lore. That's kind of important. I mean, 5 overloads, it's not a really big deal, so I'm not going to see that as too much of an issue. But the fact of it is, right here, the 3 box of clues, that person already made 15 mil off of that. And then who knows what you'd be able to make off of all these. And then also all the portable packs. If those are all out of it, it'd be a lot better. But anyway, off of this little tangent, we got the patch notes. So we have the Glacker front improvements, which they added a bank preset for the Arc Glacker. The hotfix, the practice mode is no longer available for the Arc Glacker, or Glacier. Adjusted the instance teleport coordinate in the Arch Glacier arena, so players can surge straight away upon entering. Fixes are, they fixed an issue that was preventing Insane Final Boss achievement from unlocking correctly. The Arch Glacier boss will no longer drop bones. They're not supposed to have bones anyway. Fix an issue with incorrect armor values were being applied to new enhanced tier 90 gloves, upgraded, introduced with the Glacier front update. They fixed an issue that was preventing the exposed care and the glaciite minions from working as expected at high and rage tiers during the Arch Glacier boss fight. They hotfixed the following. So all these are hotfixed for a bit. Added drop broadcast for the frozen core of Leng and the Leng artifact. Fix an issue that meant the Arch Glacier boss would die due to damage over time effects, which could kill the player in certain situations. Fix an issue where the Pontifex ring was reducing prayer-based damage resistance. Uncut Dragonstone will now drop in noted form during the Arch Glacier fight. Normal mode damage reduction no longer kicks in after you've completed all mechanics during the encounter. The effect of the enhanced Nightmare Gauntlets now functions correctly. The third beam of the Pillars of Ice mechanic in hard mode Glacier boss fight will no longer disappear and reappear when the mechanic ends. Manuscripts and Scriptures of Wen will now drop from the Arch Glacier correctly in all scenarios. Triskelions drop from the Arch Glacier will no longer be multiplied by Enrage or mechanic modifiers. Rejoining a hard mode Arch Glacier instance after toggling it off will no longer place you in a pseudo hard mode encounter. There was a issue where sequential attacks of the same type from the same side of Arch Glacier boss were not appearing, and the bolstered Glacites no longer set the Arch Glacier's health when they die. Will reset. Yeah, no longer set. Okay. And further on, we have the Not on Front improvements. The Fractured Staff of Armadillo has been added to the Magic Skill Guide. The Needle in the Colosseum of Sentiston can now be examined. Fixes, achievements that require the boss to be killed a certain way will no longer be awarded to players who joined in the middle of the encounter. When a player dies in the wilderness, with a died version of the Fractured Staff of Armadillo equipped, they will leave behind the broken base version of its loot. The overlapping abandoned siege engine from the node on front has been removed. The materials cart in the node on front has been moved slightly north. Sentiston archaeology fixes. Time sprites are now visible when traveling between excavation hotspots in Sentiston. Fix some graphical issues where multiple archaeology icons were visible within Sentiston. Decorative shovels in Sentiston can no longer be interacted with. Quality of life improvements. Slayer and Reaper tasks in the activity tracker now include weakness field and a description which highlights the most effective combat styles. During a task, an icon for this weakness will replace its activity tracker icon. The text in which appears when hovering over the Slayer counter if you were able to capture the target's soul have not yet done so will now appear in the activity tracker description for the task. Slayer and Reaper tasks in the activity tracker now also continue to display the name of the target when there is no kills left instead of displaying no task. This makes it consistent with the Slayer/Reaper counter. Slayer and Reaper tasks in the activity tracker will now refresh correctly if the target changes but the number of kills left remains the same. If fighting a boss will require you to be on a member's world, an icon will now appear on the Beast tab under the requirements. The requirements to reach, pass, and enter the God Wars dungeon are now described in greater detail across multiple icons for God Wars dungeon bosses. The hover/long press tooltip for various strengths now includes a description of their specific stat buffs and debuffs. The tooltips for run energy potions and drinks now indicate the percentage of run energy restored instead of a solid integer. Renamed the mature WMB to Wizard's Mind Bomb M to be consistent across the board. The Nettle Tea will now heal and restore run energy in all circumstances. Previously, it only restored run energy when the drinker had full health. The Birthor Path improvements are replacing the unpopular RS3 default layout with a new player layout so that the players can experiment more freely. Renamed the RS2 default layout to default since there's now only one layout with a default title. Scripted environment overrides such as applied to applied by specific areas or player-controlled skybox filters, now uses the updated cube maps for more realistic metal reflections. Fixes: achievements for the Giant Mole, King Black Dragon, and Chaos Elemental no longer display membership as required, including in the bossing path, as they can be completed in free-to-play. Fix an issue where some of the optional Berthorpe Pass couldn't be completed after completing the Path to Lumbridge. The Farming, Herblore, and Summoning Paths are now listed in the Berthorpe/Taverley Path book upon completing the Turiel Slayer Path. Previously, they were unlocked by receiving certain drops, available from Berthorpe Trolls after completing the Slayer Path. Prevented the UI tutorial for summoning charm drops that occurred for certain players when killing cows at Berthorpe. On mobile, the activity tracker UI tutorial that guides a new player onto the Berthorpe Pass now guides them through pressing the static activity button in the top left corner to open it. Desktop still starts where it always did, with the activity tracker forced on screen. Added a missing spotlight to one of the stage tutorial's second combat interface tutorial on mobile. Fix an issue where the archaeology UI tutorial referring to the materials in the artifact restoration overlay wasn't attached to this overlay, and therefore appeared out of bounds on mobile. Other fixes are: the bossing path can now be removed from the activity tracker. The bossing path, if selected, now advances to the next available boss in the path when selected boss is defeated first. Fix an issue where players could walk inside a rock in Davendale. Johannes has returned to both the cathedral and the node on front. It is no longer possible to equip a charm sack from the Nexus activity in the main hand slot. Players no longer be assigned a random Slayer task when they are wearing particular masks. The location of Pyramid Plunder UI overlay has been moved so it does not obstruct the middle of the game screen. Corrected the issue where some achievements that require specific skill levels were not marked as complete when logging in. And that's it for patch notes, but now upcoming live streams, we have one tomorrow at 1600 game time, which is a Leeds Q&A. And for community, we have some awesome art here, and it looks like it's by a artist that goes by the name of Nin, which is fighting the Arch Glacier, and I'm assuming their portrait of their character is fighting it. Very cool looking. And then we have the Pink Skirts event, which is actually the Dagonoth Kings, which is going to be hosted by Pippi Spot and the Boss Guild. This is going to be Monday, today, September 6th at 20 to 2100, World 88 Dagonoth King Lair. And then we have the Mega Duck Hunt, which is going to be hosted by Nancy, Nasty Fruit, and Mass PBM. And that'll will be on September 11th at 1600 to 1700 game time. World 22, and location is at the Warforge. And up next we have some screenshots. We have one by Jaxie's right outside of Raksha. We have another one with what is supposed to be the Elder God's armor from the Yak-Trak set, so do check that out. It actually looks kind of neat in an older way. And that is by Scion Cyborg. And then we have another one here looking at a Dragonkin in a test tube chamber, if you will. And this is by Wolfraid. Community shout out goes to Boss School, a PVM teaching community that helps to aim players of all skill levels to enjoy their experience across RuneScape and teaches them how to boss. So that is absolutely fantastic. Do check it out if you're struggling with bossing. But that'll actually be it for today's update. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, later guys.